What is up, YouTube fam? So today I wanted to post a video because I'm getting blown up with questions from people struggling to find work. They're struggling to make ends meet and they don't know how to build their business, how to build up reserves. So today I wanted to post a video on how you can get 3 potential 6-figure job opportunities for less than $1,000. So you can start training for these immediately, and you can even start training for them while you're still doing your 9 to 5. All it takes is a few online certifications and you can actually get the ball rolling for yourself. And the best part of all, you can scale these 3 career opportunities to any position that you want. So for example, I actually know people in all 3 categories, and some people are making 80 to 100 grand and they're totally happy. They're going golfing on the weekends. And I know people that are also making $300,000 to $400,000 a year plus. Some people are even making $1 million plus. So today we'll cover all 3 of the businesses. I'll cover exactly what you need, how much it'll cost, and what you can expect to earn after a couple years of actually practicing the job, and even what you can expect to earn within the first 90 days. So I'm gonna break it all down for you guys, and let me know if you have any questions in the comment box as well. So let's get started. And before I break down all 3 of these careers for you guys, if you guys could hit that like button and subscribe, it helps me out a ton. It helps my channel grow. The more growth I see, the more content I'm gonna push out, and I'm gonna be as transparent with you guys as possible. So thank you guys so much for all your support, and the likes, and the comments, and the subs, everything. Love you guys. Here we go. Number 1, loan officer. So if I could actually go back in time, I would actually become a loan officer, believe it or not. Because the NMLS license is actually pretty easy to get. Your actual prospect of how to find clients is much easier than a real estate agent. Mainly because your target audience are gonna be actual agents. You're not actually going out looking for the client themselves. What you do as a loan officer is you help clients get their home loans, do refinances, and kind of help them with their financial situations as far as pulling out loans, doing some sort of refinance, and also purchasing a home. But of course, the benefit of this is you don't have to go out to individual clients by themselves. You can literally just reach out to agents and say, hey, let me work with you. I'll make sure I give your client a really good service. I'm always responsive, and just provide that agent with as much value as you possibly can. And that one particular agent might refer 5, 10, or 15 clients to you. So I know for me, for example, I've given one loan officer at least 15 loans. They were probably about $800,000 loans each. So he's probably made about 20 grand just from me. Imagine if you also marketed out to 200 or 300 other agents and they were all just pumping out clients to you because they liked your service. And on top of that, any one of those clients that comes back later and says they need a refinance. So as you can see, the money would just start pouring in as long as you start developing that actual client basis. The actual reality of the scenario is, after you do pass your test, you are gonna work at some sort of bank. As long as you provide some sort of value, and if you're like, hey, if you need a contact at Chase Bank, if you need a contact at US Bank, I'm here, let me know what I can do for you. And just spend your entire day just reaching out to agents, and just kind of go from there. I know a lot of these banks will actually give you like a 60 or 90 day salary, it's called a draw. And they'll give it to you for maybe $2,000 or $3,000 a month to actually get you started. And then from there, once you start getting some commissions, they'll start kind of taking that back and you'll have more of a steadier pay from there. So to quickly recap the loan officer, guys, you're going to be working for a bank. It's only going to cost you less than $1,000. Your main client base are going to be agents, not the clients themselves, because the agents are what's going to actually get you the client base. Within the first 3 months, you're not going to earn more than $3,000 to $5,000 a month if you're very good. Some people are only making about $2,000 to $4,000, and you're going to slowly start building up on top of that as you get more agents, as you get more credibility within the actual community. So that is one job that you can start for less than $1,000 that you can make over 6 figures. Number 2, so this one is fantastic, especially if you like doing more hands-on work. This one is going to be a home inspector. So for all these states, for any state, you can actually get your home inspector license for less than $1,000. You simply go through the training. It will take some more experience and kind of learning, a little bit more hands-on activity than the loan officer one, but you can get it done for less than $1,000. And after you get your certification, I would just find a home inspector, contact a bunch of them. You can find them on Yelp and just ask them to shadow. Be like, hey, I'm a newer home inspector. Can I please shadow you in the future? Maybe I'll do some home inspections for you for free, or whatever the case may be, but just sit there and try to get some hours underneath your belt. It is going to be a little bit more labor intensive, but after you can actually get your certification, and I would say probably put in about 100 hours of just shadowing, you can actually go on Yelp, go on these other websites as well, and start advertising home inspection services. And just like the loan officer, what you're going to do is you're going to start reaching out to agents. Agents are your clients, guys, not the actual client themselves. marketing to the actual client themselves would cost you way too much money because there's such a high volume of them, and you would be trying to sit there and trying to filter through all the home buyers. So with any business, you have to kind of work backwards and figure out who is your actual clientele and who's going to be bringing you the actual business. So the agent themselves is going to be the one that actually refers you to the client who buys the home. And I know for me personally, I can easily speak for this. I have one inspector that I've given probably 40 inspections to, easily 40. I mean, he's made about 16 grand just off me, you know, so God knows how much that guy has made from other agents too. So you want to market to these agents. You want to make sure that you're reaching out to them on a constant basis. So you essentially just get your certification, get some shadowing hours in, start a Yelp, maybe start a basic website in. I don't think this guy even has Yelp. He just has business cards and he just markets to agents. And I think his Yelp is just kind of naturally gaining some reviews now, but he's making over $300,000 a year. He does 2 home inspections per day, charges on an average $400 to $600 depending on the home size, and he makes $200,000 to $300,000 per year plus, easily. And the benefit of being a home inspector, it is an industry that's not going to really go anywhere for a very, very long time because there's always going to be a demand for transactions. There's always going to be demand for somebody that's an expert within that field. There's no app that can actually replace a home inspector. There's nobody or anybody that can do it for cheaper. I'd say the cheapest is probably $250 to $300, maybe if you're in the Midwest. But even then, I mean, if you crank out 2 a day, I mean, you're doing all right. And the best part of all is you can actually do this while you still have your 9 to 5. So after you have your certification, maybe you crank out some shadowing hours on the weekends. From there, simply just post on Yelp, try to get some friends and family, say, hey, you're an inspector, you're available during the weekends, and just do your actual time, Saturday and Sunday. Maybe you can crank out 3 a day. Let's say you're doing 3 a day and you're charging $300 a pop. I mean, that's $900 a day, $1,800 per week, just by working the weekends. I mean, how much would that actually help out your life? So, like I said, guys, the opportunities are always there. It's just a matter of actually finding them, developing the actual system, and just getting that opportunity going, because there are plenty of inspectors that only work on the weekends and they're doing 2 to 3 per day on Saturday and Sunday, and they're doing just fine. And on top of that, they might even have a different 9 to 5 from Monday through Friday. So, like I said, guys, there's really no excuses. You guys can easily get this one started up for less than $1,000, and from there, just get that ball rolling, get the client base started. You're gonna only probably make a couple $1,000s the first 90 days. It's not gonna just steamroll and you're gonna get all this business. But from there, start building up your base and start advertising to more agents. Maybe after 5 o'clock, email some real estate agents, say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'll give you the first home inspection for free. All I wanna do is win the relationship with you. And you'd be surprised how many agents would actually appreciate that. They'll say, hey, I'll throw you a bone with one client. And then if you impress that agent and you impress that client the very, very first time, they'll give you more subsequent business in the future. So don't be afraid to work for free. Don't be afraid to hustle. Don't be afraid to actually get out there and get creative, actually get out there and try to figure out how you can make these things work. So that is number 2, home inspector. Definitely a 6-figure plus opportunity, especially if you have the personality for it, and especially if you like doing more hands-on work. Number 3, this one is huge. This one is something that I also think is in a very, very safe industry. Everything that I'm giving you guys is within real estate itself, but it's just kind of different alternatives within real estate. So this one you can start up for less than $1,000, and this one's gonna be probably the most secure out of any of the ones I've talked about today. This one's called an appraiser. And what an appraiser does, guys, they go to the home and they actually just sit there and they go through the home's measurements, make sure that the measuring and the square footage is correct. They actually look at the upgrades and see what kind of upgrades the owner has done. And what they do is they look at that home and they compare that home to others within the area, and they make sure that it is of correct value. So they kind of make sure that the value is there. In this case, your actual client is not going to be the client themselves. Your client are going to be the banks. So the banks are always going to be dishing out more and more appraisals. There's always appraisals going out. For as long as mortgages have been around, there's always going to be an appraisal. So that's something that you're going to be very, very secure in. As far as getting your actual certification, I can only speak on behalf of actual California, but I know it's less than $1,000 to get started. So what you have to do is you have to go online, get your online test. The toughest part of all is you have to put in 1,000 shadowing hours, and that's probably going to be 99% of people. They're like, well, this. But you do have to put in 1,000 hours. I don't know why that's a recommendation. I don't know why it's a requirement. To me, it seems a little excessive, but that's just kind of where it is. So what you have to do is you have to find an appraiser, ask them that if you can shadow them, and just crank out your 1,000 hours. I mean, it might take you a year or 10 months or whatever 1,000 hours is. I don't know how long that would actually take, but The benefit of all of it is after your time is done, getting clients as an appraiser is going to be much easier than getting clients as a loan officer and much easier than getting clients as a home inspector. So once you have your appraiser's license, you're just reaching out to banks. There are some appraisal companies that'll give you clients, but you're essentially just opening up your schedule. You get them handed to you, okay? I freaking said it. You get them handed to you by the bank because the bank needs that appraisal done. They don't really care who's out there. They're like, hey, John, you have your license. Go do that appraisal, John. If John's not available, it's gonna go to Brock, Pokemon reference. But Brock is gonna do the appraisal. That's who's doing it. So that's essentially all it really is to it. You're just gonna go to the home for 20 minutes. You're gonna crank out some measurements, make sure the home is of value. I'm sure there's a lot more specifics to it than that, but you're just kind of looking at the upgrades, and then you're gonna go home. You're gonna do a report, and you're gonna just kind of crank out exactly what you need to do from there. There is gonna be some paperwork involved. You're not gonna just show for 20 minutes and start cranking out all this money. But as far as how much an appraiser makes, they're gonna make anywhere between $100 to $250 per appraisal, depending on which company you're with and your agreement with them, even upwards to $300-400 if you're doing it by yourself. And as you can imagine, you could easily crank out probably 2 to 4 of these a day, so it wouldn't be too difficult as far as cranking out the actual volume needed to make 6+ figures. And you're not going to have that high of an earning potential as maybe a loan officer or an inspector would, just because you could scale those much easier. Because as an appraiser, you're only going to be working pretty much for yourself, and you're going to be just taking in clients and just doing what you can. It's going to be a lot more stable, but you're not going to have crazy high of a ceiling compared to being a loan officer where you can make $600K plus a year if you're a freaking beast. So those are some things to consider, but the benefit is all three are definitely 6-figure potential. So guys, get out there, start developing these side hustles, start actually thinking about more exit strategies. I'm sure you guys have seen the last 6 to 8 months, the people that did have a 9-to-5 that you thought were always going to be safe and them actually losing it, it might have actually struck a nerve with you, and it kind of shows you the reality that even your 9-to-5 is really not that safe. So you should always have something on the side that you could just kind of have there just in case, whether it is real estate, whether it's maybe getting your loan officer license, maybe it's just getting your home inspector license, or maybe you're just learning how to code, or maybe you're just kind of developing these other little things here and there. I'm still focused on my actual business, 99%, but it's always good to have that thing there just in case, because you never know what could happen. If this year has taught you anything, is prepare for the unexpected. And the unexpected is going to hit you one day, and you're going to be absolutely happy that you got these certifications, licenses, or just started some sort of business, some sort of side hustle. So thanks again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for all the support, all the love, all the comments. It's just been insane. I only wanted to hit 1,000 subscribers by October 5th, and we're nearly 10xing that. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to see you guys in the next one and get back to work. Love you guys. As I was saying, lost my damn train of thought.